The world stopped the night the truth about Jackie Christie burst into the light. What began as another gossip headline spiraled into something far darker, a public autopsy of loyalty, greed, and love turned toxic. For years, Jackie had been the Iron Woman of reality television, bold, outspoken, impossible to shake. The woman who stood beside her husband, Doug Christie, through every storm. Through whispers of infidelity, rumors of control, and the scrutiny that came with fame, she held the line. She told the world, "No one can break what we've built." And for a while, it seemed she was right. But that illusion shattered like glass when one private video changed everything. That night, the internet didn't sleep. The footage, grainy, shaky, and intimate, appeared out of nowhere. It spread like wildfire across every social platform. The clip showed Doug Christie, the man Jackie had fiercely protected for decades, in a setting that no wife should ever have to witness. He wasn't alone. He was with Brandy Maxiell, the woman Jackie once called her sister. In an instant, their sisterhood turned to betrayal, their trust turned to spectacle, and Jackie's life became the world's favorite tragedy. Millions clicked, millions judged. But none of them knew the truth behind that viral video, a truth planned long before it ever hit the internet. Days later, Jackie Christie appeared in court, not as a reality star, not as a wife, but as a woman whose life had been ripped apart for entertainment. Her eyes were red but unbroken, her shoulders trembling but straight. Every camera followed her every step as she entered the courthouse, where the truth would finally start to surface. Inside those walls, the whispers were deafening. Was the betrayal real, or had it been orchestrated for the sake of ratings? When the evidence began to pour in, the courtroom turned into a theater of shock. Jackie's lawyers laid down emails, call logs, and financial records that painted a horrifying picture, one that no one in the industry wanted to see. According to the evidence, the scandal was no accident. It was a script, a storyline, a calculated setup paid for by the same production company that had built Jackie's empire. Every leak, every whisper, every painful moment was part of a narrative designed to destroy her image and sell her heartbreak to millions. Her lawyer revealed payments made to Brandy Maxiell's account, deposits that landed just days before the footage was leaked. It wasn't passion, it was payment. The affair wasn't love, it was currency. Jackie sat frozen at the table, her fingers clutching the wood as though holding onto her last thread of sanity. Across the room, Doug Christie sat motionless, his head bowed, unable or unwilling to meet her eyes. Then came the confession that sent shockwaves through the courtroom. A former producer, voice trembling, was sworn in and admitted that private meetings had been held months before the scandal broke. Meetings where the production team allegedly plotted the fall of Jackie Christie. He said the words out loud, on record, "We were told to make Jackie Christie fall." The gallery gasped. Reporters scrambled out of the room to break the story first. Fans watching the live stream flooded social media with disbelief. Outside, the crowd grew louder, holding signs that read, "Justice for Jackie." The woman who had once been painted as dramatic, jealous, and unstable was now being revealed as the victim of an industry that fed on her pain. But the nightmare wasn't over. Jackie's attorney produced another set of documents that deepened the wound. Property transfers, hidden deeds, and quiet withdrawals made under Doug's name all rerouted to Brandy just weeks before the footage surfaced. Jackie turned to her lawyer, her voice breaking into a whisper that the microphones barely caught. "He planned it." The judge's gavel slammed for order, but nothing could silence the collective gasp that followed. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was strategic. Doug Christie, the man she had defended through every rumor, had allegedly helped orchestrate her downfall. The courtroom drama turned into a cultural event. Commentators filled the airwaves, fans dissected every second, and hashtags trended worldwide. For some, it was the end of an era in reality TV. For others, it was the beginning of a reckoning. As the trial continued, Jackie Christie found herself sitting at the center of a storm she never asked for. Betrayed by love, exploited by business, and watched by millions. When she took the stand, the air in the courtroom shifted. Her voice was fragile at first, almost breaking under the weight of the moment. But as she began to speak, her strength returned like a flame relit after the wind. She said, "I built this empire. I carried the show. I gave them my truth. And they repaid me by turning my husband into a weapon." Her words silenced even the loudest critics. In that moment, the cameras weren't watching a scandal anymore. They were watching a woman reclaim her power.
Then came the moment that no one expected. Jackie's attorney stepped forward with a sealed envelope, a final piece of evidence. When the screen in the courtroom lit up, the truth played out in excruciating clarity. The video didn't show passion, it showed production lights, microphones, and a camera crew whispering directions. A voice off-screen could be heard saying, "Get closer, make it believable, this needs to look real." The footage revealed Brandy glancing at the camera, laughing nervously, while Doug signed documents on a nearby table. A producer's voice said clearly, "We'll send the balance once the episode airs." The courtroom gasped. It wasn't an affair caught in the heat of the moment. It was a scene, staged, directed, and sold as betrayal. Jackie's heartbreak had been rehearsed, her pain packaged as primetime television. Doug buried his face in his hands. "I didn't think they'd leak it," he muttered, but his words only deepened the outrage. From the back of the courtroom, a woman's voice screamed, "You let them destroy her!" Reporters raced to the exits to file stories. The chaos was uncontrollable. Then, in an unexpected twist, Brandy turned toward Doug and shouted across the courtroom, her voice trembling with guilt and anger. "Don't act like you didn't plan it too. You said you were done living under her shadow." The room erupted. The judge called for order, but it was too late. The truth had already exploded. The next witness to take the stand was Jackie's eldest daughter. Her hands shook as she held the microphone, tears streaking her face. In a voice barely above a whisper, she said she had overheard her father one night on the phone saying the words that broke her family forever. "When this is over, we'll finally be free." Gasps filled the courtroom. Jackie's composure shattered. Her daughters rushed to hold her as she broke down in sobs, her pain echoing through the room. Outside, protesters chanted her name, demanding justice. What started as a gossip story had become a global reckoning. News anchors described it as the death of love on live television. Politicians condemned the exploitation of women in entertainment. Celebrities spoke out in her defense. And through it all, Jackie Christie kept showing up, bruised but unbroken. By the final day of the trial, the world was watching. The hallways were packed with reporters, fans holding signs, and camera crews elbowing for position. Jackie walked in quietly, her head high. She wasn't entering a courtroom anymore, she was walking into history. Her attorney stood and pressed play on one last recording. Doug's voice filled the speakers, cold and deliberate. "If this goes right, we're done with her. She'll never recover." Then came another voice, a producer, promising him a payoff and new opportunities once the footage aired. The sound of betrayal was deafening. Doug covered his face, whispering, "I'm sorry." But the apology meant nothing. The truth was out. Jackie didn't cry. She didn't speak. She just looked at him, steady, silent, and heartbreakingly strong. The verdict wasn't the part that mattered anymore. The damage had already been done. The emotional outcome was clear. Jackie Christie had won something bigger than the case. She had won back her truth. When she stood one final time, her voice filled the room with quiet power. She said, "You can destroy my name, but you cannot destroy my truth. I gave everything, my love, my loyalty, my soul, and they turned it into profit. But let them remember this, you cannot bury a woman who knows her worth." The room erupted in applause. Even strangers stood. Some cried, some prayed. Outside, the crowd cheered as she stepped into the sunlight, chanting her name. "We love you, Jackie. You're our queen." The network scrambled to deny involvement, but no one believed them. Brandy vanished from social media. Doug became a symbol of disgrace, his name trending worldwide for all the wrong reasons. And then, silence. The kind of silence that only follows the storm. Jackie Christie had lost almost everything, her marriage, her peace, her reputation, but what she found in the wreckage was something more powerful than any of it, strength. in the weeks that followed, her story became a movement. Brands that once distanced themselves now begged to work with her. Talk shows lined up for interviews. Fans flooded social media with her quotes, turning her pain into poetry. The world called her story the rise from ruin. In one interview, Jackie spoke softly, but every word carried the weight of survival. She said, "They wanted to erase me, but all they did was remind the world who I really am." That single line sealed her legacy. She was no longer just a reality star, no longer a headline. Jackie Christie had become something larger, a symbol of endurance, a woman who faced public destruction and turned it into her rebirth. They tried to use her pain as entertainment. They turned her heartbreak into profit. But in the end, Jackie Christie was the only one still standing. Her husband's greed, Brandy's ambition, the network's manipulation, all of it burned in the fire she survived. And from those ashes, she rose, not broken, not defeated, but reborn. You can take my marriage, you can take my peace, you can take my pride, but you will never take my strength. And in that moment, the cameras didn't matter. The headlines didn't matter. Only her resilience did. Because Jackie Christie didn't fall. She transformed. If you believe in truth, redemption, and the power of rising after destruction, share this story. Because sometimes the greatest comeback isn't a headline, it's survival.